Hello students, welcome to science class. So in our previous class we have learnt about atmospheric pressure. So just I am giving you one question. You will research and tell me whether is there any atmospheric pressure on the moon or not. You will research it and tell me why is the reason is there atmospheric pressure on the moon. If yes, then tell me the reason. If no also, then also tell me the reason. Okay, so this is just a small question for you all. Okay, so next we will move on to our next topic. Okay, so we will move on to our next topic, that is what. Okay, first let us read about a very great scientist, what he has done, what is the achievement of the scientist. Okay, see, great scientist in 1726, the Swedish scientist Daniel Bernoulli put forth the important principle for the pressure of air for the pressure of the air decreases when its velocity increases, while the pressure of the air increases when its velocity decreases. Means what he is telling, that when the as the pressure of the atmospheric pressure, you all know what is that pressure decreases when the velocity of the air molecule increase, and if the velocity of the air molecule decreases, then what happens, the pressure or atmospheric pressure increases. See, if the body is moving through air, the air pressure, if the body is moving through air, the air pressure decreases perpendicular to the direction of the motion. Means in the direction which it is moving, to the direction perpendicular to the movement of the air molecules, to that direction, what happens, the pressure of the air decreases. Okay, and then the air in its surrounding flows rapidly from high pressure to low pressure. So the name of the scientist is what? Daniel Bernoulli. He has put one principle. What is that principle? When the pressure of the, what happens when the air pressure, when the velocity of the air increases, then what happens, the air pressure decreases at that area. Okay, and the movement of the air molecules, or to the air molecules, the direction perpendicular to the movement of the air molecules, to that direction, what happens, the atmospheric pressure decreases. Okay, so this is just a phenomenon. Let us see by taking one example, how does it works. Okay, what is this Bernoulli principle actually means. Okay, see, now what you can see in this, see, I have taken a glass of water. Okay, in that glass, okay, glass is filled with water, and what is happening, this straw I have put in the glass in erect direction. Means, see, and one straw I have taken which is perpendicular to this straw. See, as you can see, perpendicular means what, 90 degrees. See, this straw is perpendicular to this straw. Okay, so what I am doing, from this straw I am what I am doing, I am blowing air. Okay, blowing air from this straw. So what happens when I blow the air from this side, so what happens if I blow, so what will happen, first, in normal condition, the air is present, as you know, air is present everywhere. Okay, so the molecules of the air will move in constant will move. Okay, so now when I blow air from this side, what will happen, the velocity of the air molecule, the molecules of the air will move in faster than in previous case, if I doesn't blow any air from this side, doesn't blow. Okay, so what will happen, when I blow the air, the molecules from this side, the molecules of the air, what will happen, the velocity of the air will increase. And what you have learned about Bernoulli, that when the velocity of the air increases at that part, here what will happen, there will be low air pressure. When velocity, see, when I blow, that time velocity, the movement of the air molecules, as first the air is present everywhere, you all know that. So air will move, but you don't like, for example, if I blow on my hand, so you can feel the air, you can feel it now. With harder, if I blow harder, then what happens, that feel, we can feel that like we can feel that hardness, softness, how we are blowing. Okay, what is the velocity of the air, with what velocity we are blowing the air. Okay, so what happens here, this part, the pressure of the air decreases. Okay, so and what he has told, Bernoulli has told that when the velocity increases, when the velocity of the air increases, at that part pressure decreases. And one more thing he has told, what is that, the direction, see, direction of the motion, the direction of the motion of the air molecule, direction of the motion of the air molecule. I am blowing from this side, so air molecules will also move this side only with more speed. Okay, so with more speed, the air molecule is going in this direction. So what is the perpendicular direction of for that air molecules? So this direction, air molecules are moving in faster motion. So this is the perpendicular direction. So in that perpendicular direction, what is there, a straw. So what will happen in that perpendicular direction of the straw, there at the opening there will be what, low pressure. Okay, so what happens, this low pressure. Okay, and here there are air molecules, but they are not moving very rapidly, or the velocity of the air molecules moving here is not that speed, is that at the opening side of the straw. See, so what happens here is the velocity of air molecule is low. So if the velocity is of the air molecule is low, then there is a high pressure. And when the velocity of the air molecule is high, then there will be what, low pressure. Okay, so you know that water travels from what, sorry, the high pressure here is there, and here is low pressure. So what happened, the water in the cup, the water in the glass will move when we blow now, with more force. If we blow, more will be the water coming upwards from the straw, from high pressure to low pressure side. This is high pressure side of the straw, this is low pressure side. Okay, so here there is low pressure, that's why the water will travel from the high pressure to low pressure. Okay, the more forcefully if we blow, the more forcefully if we blow the air, the higher will be the fountain. Okay, this straw fountain works on the Bernoulli's principle. The more forcefully if we blow now, then what happens, more is the fountain coming upwards from this erect straw. Okay, more is the fountain coming upward from this erect straw. It is moving from high pressure to low pressure. So this works on what, Bernoulli's principle. Okay, now glass, what you can see in this picture, there is a glass. Okay, in that what is taken, ice is taken in the glass. So what happens, okay, so as there was warm moist air present in the surrounding. Okay, when I place the glass filled with what, ice, then what happens, the surrounding air around this glass becomes what, cool. Okay, becomes cool. So as the water vapor, as you all know, air consists of what, different types of gases, Air is a mixture of gases, homogeneous mixture of gases, and what? And it also consists vapor, water vapor. So water vapor, which the air consists, that water vapor in this area, water vapor starts to cool down. Water vapor starts to cool down, and it condenses and transformed into the this what and transforms into what? This water bubbles. You can see water on the glass. So you must have observed, if you take a glass filled with ice water, or filled with ice, then after few minutes or after few times, what happens? You can see drops on the upper surface of the glass. So why it is so? Why this happens? Okay, why? Because the air surrounding that glass, the water vapor, the surrounding that glass area, that water vapor condenses and get transformed into ice. So get transformed into, see, the air here get transformed, the water vapor here around the glass get transformed into what? Transformed into water. Okay, so you can see the glass, on the surface of the glass you can see the many small drops of water, which are what? Condensed water vapor. Okay, so as you can see, the level of humidity, as you all know also, the level of humidity is different in different places. Okay, so similarly, humidity levels also changes from time to time during the period of a single day also. Okay, so humidity, what does this humidity, level of humidity means? This level of humidity is determined by its capacity to hold water vapor. Okay, you must have observed that during night or at dawn, when the temperature during night, you feel also that temperature is lower than the temperature during the day. Okay, so as the temperature starts to low down, temperature of the air is low, then its capacity to hold the water vapor is less. Means as the temperature increases, capacity to hold the water vapor increases, is more. Okay, so what happens, at such time the excess. Okay, I will give you one example for your understanding. See, you have observed that in summer season, what happens in summer season, the clothes dry up faster, while in rainy season the clothes are not drying up faster. Why is that? Why is it so? Because, see, think first, what happens? The air temperature, first of all, the temperature is more in summer season is more. Okay, so temperature is more. So what happened? The capacity to hold the water vapor is what? More. So what happens? The capacity to hold the vapor is more, and that is why. So what happens uh, in what season I'm talking about? In summer season. Okay, so in summer season, the temperature, as I have told you, the temperature is more, so capacity to hold the water vapor is more, means the water vapor will not condense. So what happens? The water content from the clothes, that water content is taken up by this dry air. Okay, is taken up by this dry air, and the clothes dry up faster. And in rainy season, what happens? In rainy season, as the temperature is less, temperature in the atmosphere is less, so the capacity to hold the water vapor is also less. So what happens? The water content which are there in the clothes, in the wet clothes, that water content is not lost by this surrounding air, because the surrounding air is also, you can feel now, surrounding air is not fully dry. It is some moistness is there in the surrounding. That's why, that is the reason why it takes more time to dry up the clothes in rainy season. Okay, so next we will learn about scattering of light. What does this scattering of light means? Okay, so let's see what does this scattering of light means. See, just look at this picture. See, as you all know, in the atmosphere there is air molecule present in the atmosphere. Okay, when the sunlight travels, and when the sunlight travels, so what happens? The air the air molecules which are present in the atmosphere, that air molecules, the sunlight, see, you can see the incident light. This light hits the air molecule. See, air molecule is present in the atmosphere everywhere. So when the incident light comes and hit the air molecules, so what happens? This light scatters in all direction. Means what? First the light was coming in straight, see, coming like this. Then what happened? It hits the air molecule. Then what happened? The light travels in all direction. Okay, scatters in all direction, means वो फैल जाता है. Okay, फैलना, scattering means फैलना. So light scatters in all direction. So this phenomena is known as what? Scattering of light. See, this picture, you can imagine through this picture what is happening. See, incident light ray, this air molecules hitting the incident light ray hitting the air molecules, it scatters in all direction. See, okay, so here the light ray is what? Scattered in all possible direction by particles. Okay, so now we will see what does this temperature regulation means, and what is this transmission of sound. Okay, so temperature regulation, as you all know, the earth receives energy from what? Sun. Okay, so sun is our what? Primary source of energy. This energy is reflected by the earth in the form of heat. The energy which we receive from the sun, we receive in the form of what? Heat. The constituent of air surrounding the earth, such as what are the constituent of air? I have told you before only. What are the constituent of air? Water vapor and different gases. Mixture of different gases are present in the air. So these are what? Constituent of air. So these constituent of air surrounding the earth, such as water vapor, carbon dioxide, what does they do? They observe a part of this heat and give it to other constituent of air. Means what? These water vapor and carbon dioxide, they observe the heat which we receive from the sun. They absorb a part of this heat and they give it to other constituent. Means other constituent of the air, like what? Like nitrogen, other gases which are present in the air. So they absorb the heat and give it to other constituent. So as a result, what happens? The earth's surface remains warm and thereby becomes suitable for living world on the earth. We need a temperature, certain temperature we need for our survival. So because of this gases which are present in the air, the temperature is maintained. Okay, so because of which we can survive on the earth. Okay, if there were no air on the earth, the average temperature of the earth's surface would have been very low. Means what? If there is no air molecules present in the atmosphere, so what will happen? Even though the sunlight is coming, but the air molecules which are absorbing it, they are not present in the atmosphere, so the temperature will be very low. Okay, so in that very low temperature we can't survive. We need a certain specific temperature. Okay, we need a certain warm kind of climate, kind of temperature. So for that, these air molecules helps absorb it and transfer it to the other constituent, because of which our survival of the earth can happen. Okay, so now transmission of sound. Okay, you have heard sound. So have you ever given a thought how, like, I am speaking here, and the person sitting next to me, or sitting in the next sitting in front of me, how they can hear it? Okay, yes. So as I have told you that for transmission of sound, air acts as a what? Medium For example, as I have given you one example, like if I keep a speaker or a DJ or something in a room and you are present in that room, but there is no air in that room, okay, so you can't hear anything because air is a medium for traveling the sound, okay, for transmission of the sound, okay. So, and what the density of air also changes due to change in its temperature. Means what? Density is a factor which changes when the temperature of the air changes. So in winter, as you can see, in winter the density of the air increases. We can Density of the air increases in winter, and in summer what happened? Density of the air decreases. So as the density of the air increases, means more clearly we will be able to hear the sound. So in winter, if you in winter season, if you wake up in the morning and go to the or you go in somewhere like railway station or something, so from very long distance train is coming, so you could hear the whistle of that train, okay, distant train clearly in the morning in winter season. Whereas if you do the same thing in summer season, that in summer season what happened? The density of the air decreases, therefore the more clarity of the sound which we are able to hear, that decreases at somewhat, okay. So what happened? We couldn't hear the sound clearly, as clear we are able to hear in winter season, okay. So air is what? Air is a useful medium for the transmission of sound. Air acts as a medium for transmission of the sound, okay. So have you given a thought how we are speaking on the phone, and the person sitting in somewhere in any state or any country, they could hear our voice? How this is happening? So give it a thought for this statement which I have given to you. How we are able to hear the sound? How from one place to another the sound, like we are talking on the phones, and the person in next the person can hear our voice from through our phone. So how this is? So this is also this I have given you one more question to you all to solve this, okay. Now next we will move on to, okay, what is this? Okay, you can see water. So we will learn in this what? Properties of water, the very important factor, the very important thing for our survival. What is that? Water, okay. So water, what are the different properties of water? We will learn in this, okay. So first let us see picture. First observe the picture and think. See, observe the picture carefully. What you can see now, from this picture we will conclude some statements, okay. See, from this picture we will conclude some statement. What happens? See, water is flowing from this ball. We have, what we have done, we have done holes in this ball, so water is coming out from the ball. And in second picture, what is happening? Water is flowing from the holes from the higher level to the tub or something kept at the lower level. Here also water is flowing from the higher level, okay, and to the lower level tub, okay. So what are the different properties of water? See, water occurs in liquid state. You all know this. You have learnt in your primary classes, in your previous lower classes. Water occurs in what? Liquid state under ordinary condition. And second property is what? Water does not have its own shape, but it has volume. It does not have its own shape. It takes the shape of the container, but it has a volume, okay. So and this is the second property. Third property is what? It can pass through small holes or deep through very small gaps or cracks means it, you can see, you must have observed it can pass through very small holes, and from very small cracks also it can pass out, it can seep inside the ground from very small cracks. Okay, so this was the third property. And the fourth property is what? Water travels from the higher level to lower level. Okay, see this pipe I have put, this from this pipe, see, you can observe from this what happens. The water is coming out from this pipe, but it is kept at what? Higher level than that to this tub. If for example I have kept here the bucket full of water, and here I have kept empty bucket, so will that water flow from this bucket to this bucket, from lower level bucket to higher level bucket? No, it is not possible, as water flows from higher level to lower level. So this was your fourth property of the water. Okay, in sometimes have you observed that water and oil doesn't mix? Why is that so? Take one what bowl you can take, and in that pour some oil. Okay, and pour some oil, and what you will do in that, if you pour some drops of water, then what you can observe is that oil and water is not mixing with each other. Oil gets separated and water gets separated. The small bubbles, you can small balls of water or oil you can see on that bowl. Okay, so water and oil doesn't mix with each other. So this, find out the reason why this is happening. Water and oil, why does they don't mix with each other? The small activity, this is just an activity question for you all, why this is not happening, so that you become more and more active in your research part. Okay, you try to be curious about knowing why this is happening. So as science, you all know science is about being curious. Okay, you have to build up your curiosity, you have to increase your curiosity for knowing. Okay, so one more question I am giving you, why oil and what water doesn't mix with each other. Okay, so now we will move on to our next part, which is what? See, this is also an activity, you can try this at home. If I take a, see, I have taken a bucket filled with water, half filled with water, and in that bucket I have placed what? Some small pencil, then what? Small scale I have put, and small rubber band and sharpener. And what I have put? I have put one. I am keeping, what I am putting? I am putting the compass, spoon, and something I have kept in that. Okay, so what you can see there, is there any difference between these objects and these objects? What is the difference between the two objects, between these object and the objects which are settling at the bottom? So what are the difference? See, as you can observe from this, you can conclude, you can get an inference that object with greater mass, see, greater mass, see, this rubber band will have lighter mass. Mass means what? Weight. These objects have lighter weight, and these objects have higher weight or greater weight. So object with greater weight, greater mass, sink in the water, means get settle at the bottom. They sink in the water. And objects with lighter mass floats in the water. See, the objects with the lighter mass are floating in the water, means upar tairna. See, they are floating in the water, and these objects with the greater mass, they sink in the water. Okay, so these are the two inference you can draw from this picture. Okay, you have drawn these two inference from this picture. Now I will tell you one more activity. See, one more picture. Now from this picture, what you can observe, just now I have given you one picture, in that also you have seen some objects floating at the upper level, and the objects and the objects, some objects float, some objects sinking in the water. So what happens, okay, see, here I have taken ice and water, ice and water. I have put ice in the glass filled of water. So in this, what ice is also a state of water only. When it freezes, when the water freezes, it becomes what? Ice. So ice is one state of water. So ice is lighter than water. How? When water freezes to form ice, it becomes lighter than the original liquid. It becomes lighter, means the ice become lighter than the original liquid when it was in liquid state water. So when the water freezes, that is when it transformed into a solid state. First the water was in liquid state, and when it get transformed into a solid state to form ice, that time what happens, its volume increases. Volume is getting increased. So when the volume increases, then what happens, that density decreases. When volume increase, that time density of that object decreases. Okay, so therefore the density, here you can see the volume of the ice increases when it get transformed into when the water gets transformed into ice. So when the volume increases, density decreases. Okay, when the density of the object is lighter, then see, density of this ice is lighter than the density of the water. So density, if the density is lighter, it will float. If the density of the object which I have put in the glass is more, then it will sink at the bottom, sink in the water. Okay, that is, the density of the ice here is less than that of water. That is the reason why the ice floats on water. So in this case also, as one reason what I have given you, the mass of this object is greater, that's why it is sinking, and mass of this object is lighter, that's why it is floating. And what is the second reason? Density of these object is lighter than that of water, that's why they are floating. Density of these object is greater than that of water, that is why they are sinking or settling at the bottom. We will learn interrelation between density, mass and volume. So first let us see relation between density and mass. So if, see, relation between density and mass we are finding out. Density is directly proportional to mass. Means what? Directly proportional means what? If mass increases, then what happens? See, if the mass increases, then density will also increase. Directly proportional. Directly proportional means mass increases, then density will also increase. If mass decreases, then density will also decrease. Means both are directly proportional to each other. So density and mass relation, what is that? Density equals to mass, equals to any constant we can take there, because we are putting equals to sign. So density is directly proportional to mass, and means you now understood that density and mass relation. Now we are going to see density and volume relation. So density and volume are what? Density is inversely proportional to volume. Inversely proportional to volume. Okay, so inversely proportional means what? If the volume increases, then density will decrease. Means both are inverse to each other. If volume increase, density will decrease. Okay, and if volume decreases, density will increase. If volume decreases, density will increase. Both are inversely proportional to each other, inverse to each other. Density and volume are inverse to each other, and density and mass are directly proportional to each other. So now we will see what is the formula for density. Okay, if we want to find any, if we want to find the density of any object, so what is the formula we use? Density equals to mass upon volume. This is the formula we are using for finding the density of anything. Okay, so formula, remember the formula, density equals to mass upon volume. From the formula itself you can understand that density equals to mass and divide by volume, means if volume is increased, density will decrease. If volume will decrease, density will increase as the volume is under division. Okay, see now, unit of density. What is the unit of density? Density equals to what? Mass upon volume, you know that by formula. And mass is measured in what? Grams. And volume is measured in cubic centimeter. So density will be what? As density equals to mass upon volume. So in place of mass is what? Gram. So gram upon cubic centimeter is the unit of density. So after finding the density of any object, then we have to write the unit also, that is what? Gram on what? Centimeter, cubic centimeter. Okay, see, gram upon cubic centimeter. Short form is what? cc, cubic centimeter. Unit of density is gram upon cubic centimeter.